We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast for nonprofits and raising funds. Justin's our guinea pig or our prototype or whatever he is. He's something. Look at that smile. It looks like he's happy. That's going to change. Um, so, um, like, I don't want to keep reviewing over my background. Read watch the podcast, listen to the podcast, take great notes, and then communicate. So you got to communicate with other people. And so this is going to be a psychological. So there's mechanical stuff to raise funds, and then there's psychological. So there's mechanical and psychological. And so the mechanical is the 530 grid, so you've got the boss system. So you've got the boss system here. So we've gone over that. And so that's why it's so important for you to go ahead. Like, you have to learn addition before you probably learn subtraction. You definitely have to learn addition and subtraction before you learn multiplication. So why do they teach addition and then subtraction and then multiplication and then division? Because addition's easier mentally to understand than subtraction. And so there's mechanical, and so there's three elements, to the boss system. So you want to have your wow income goal, your wow revenue goal, your wow goal. You want to have that because that's the thing. And as we learned last week, so each of these build on the previous week. So you got to listen to the previous week, and you got to internalize it. If you think, oh, I think I understand that, you might not. You understand it at a surface level. This is why people who have college degrees, they get a college degree and they think they know a lot. No, surface. Surface. When do depth? When you're actually applying it. Like you have I have a marketing degree. I've been told that, by people that, Mark, you are the fastest copywriter and the best copywriter I've ever met in my life. And this is a guy that worked with the big firms that charge millions of dollars to do it. I've been doing, I have a marketing degree, but I've been doing, marketing and copywriting and all this stuff for a long time. Like, I don't know, 40 years, 38 years. And shoot, I don't think I'm very good. If I was good, I'd. So the more you know, hopefully, the more you don't know. Anyways, so you have the DNA for people, DNA for business, DNA for life. So you have those three things. And so the DNA for people is the personality masteries. And so that's the ability to identify somebody's personality within 17 seconds. Once you identify their personality, their strengths, weaknesses, what they like, what they don't, turns them on, turns them off, if they're married, who they're married to, conflict in marriage, what to say, when to say. Trust me, this stuff will help you raise funds like you've never seen before. It is insane. It is absolutely insane when you understand this. And there's a mobile app. And so, Mary Jo, make sure that we go ahead and get a link in this description here for the mobile app. And so I have my own channel. You as a nonprofit can have your own channel. Within channels, there's groups. Within groups, there's topics. So you should join my friends group. So I don't know how many groups in my channel, probably 20, 30, far more than I should have or want to have. But one of the things in there is a friend to become my friend or understand friendships and all of those types of things. And so then you can see how to use the tool, the Life GPS mobile app tool, to do fundraising. It may be the most powerful tool you can ever experience. Like when Justin does his big event, I wouldn't be at all surprised if he goes ahead and has a QR code that goes ahead and is on the screen and say, hey, join this group. And it'll tell you personality. Why? Because when you're fundraising at an event, it's a lot easier to get people to an event than it is to get them to give consistently. I mean, getting, getting people to give consistently is not an easy thing to do. Questions, Justin?
No, it makes sense. It's the
And
truth.
so what we want to do is when we get them to an event, you put all this time into event where you really make money. So most people at events, they obviously put a lot of work in pre the event
Right.
to get the event there, and then a lot of work at the event. But where they drop the ball is post event.
Okay.
The post event is where you make. So I've been blessed to be an international speaker and author. I apologize. The reason I share this stuff is just to give you all context. It's not to get, it's not for any of you guys to go ahead and get impressed or anything. And so, by that. And so I'm writing my 17th book, Clean Windows. Oh my gracious, my daughters are here. Oh, then can you say hi?
Ah,
Say hi. My name's Micaiah. Say my name's Micaiah.
hi, Micaiah.
And then my name's Elena. Say,
Amy. Hi, Amy.
all right. Thanks. Are you staying over at Grandpa's? We are going to have so much fun today. So many adventures. I can't even imagine it.
That's awesome.
Sorry about that. All
Yeah, I
right.
don't know.
So yeah, we're trying to get them. They went through, talking about, girl, do you want to talk about the 30-day challenge? The adventure? Okay, gotcha. So they did what's called the 30-day adventure, the 30-day secret about time. So we all have 1,440 minutes in a day, every one of us. And we all have 10,080 minutes in a week. Oh, okay, girls, keep it down, please. And so most people, they say they're busy or whatever. So they say they're busy or whatever, but they don't know how to manage their time. They don't know how to steward their time. They don't know how to leverage their time. So that's a DNA for life. These are natural laws. And then the mechanical is the DNA for business. And so these are going to be the 5 areas within your organization. So to raise funds, you're going to have marketing, pre-sales, sales, servicing, client relationship for life. And so these are going to be who you're going to be raising funds from. And ideally you have, if you want to raise $1 million or 10 million or $1 billion, whatever you want to raise, or 100,000, you want all 5 of these to be in alignment. Most of the time it's like this is the reality. So the reality is often, we might have 4 out of the 5. Let's say we want to raise $1 million. We have 4 out of the 5 that are at $1 million, but if one of them's at 100,000, we're only going to raise 100,000. Like these are just natural laws. Like if you want to go ahead, if you're a farmer and you want to get 1,000 bushels of corn, well, you got to go ahead and plant enough seed to get it. If you don't plant enough seed, it's not going to be there. So a lot of this is not brain surgery, it's not rocket science, but it requires, we have to understand thinking, and then we have to understand how we do it. This is the 530 grid. So you have, and Mary Jo, so one of the links is going to be to join and be my friend. Okay. The other is going to be, another link is going to be to all of the different ways you look at the 530 grid. There's different ways to look at the 530 grid. They're 15-minute videos. Okay. So if you have 1,440 minutes in a day, which we all do, if you go ahead and take 15 minutes, then you have 1,425 minutes, which is still quite a bit of minutes. Like, so it's funny where people go ahead and say, well, Mark, and then they talk to me about why they're not able to get things done. What that does just reveals to me is it reveals to me that they're not really disciplined thinkers. They're not. When the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, he said great organizations have disciplined people, disciplined thinkers, discipline in taking action. Okay. So marketing is how do you generate more and better leads for fundraising. Pre-sales is once you get a lead, what do you do with it? Area 3 is the sale. That's the yes or the no. area 4 is servicing. So once you go ahead, you're creating an experience for the donor, for the contributor. You're creating an experience. And so if you don't continue, the better the experience is, the more money they're going to give. This is just how things work. And then how do you create a client or relationship for life? How do you build lifelong relationships? These are the 5 areas. And again, you're only as strong as you're only as strong as your smallest pipe. So if this one's small, you're only going to do that. If this one's, smaller, you're only going to do that. So you got to go ahead and, you've got to go ahead and get them all in alignment. So what we talked about last time is identifying the targets. The first thing you do is you get a database. So you get a database here of all the people that are interested, all the people who have given, could give, friends and family. So with Justin, there's going to be some people, they honestly, maybe not really passionate about the cause that Justin is.
Right.
But they will give money because they like Justin. Pragmatically, he doesn't care. Give money any reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say, but that's how, when you're a nonprofit, it's nice if you're passionate, but even if you're not, we'll take your money.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, that's what it takes. And so you get all of your targets, all of your people, all the spheres of influence. So you get everybody and you get them into a database, a spreadsheet, a CRM system. So I like, Google spreadsheets. Because then you can share those with select people. You don't share them with everybody. You don't share your contact list. But the organization of your database is really, really important. So that's the first step. Get all of your database. Get everybody there. And so you just want to build up and have as many people in there. Don't worry about good or bad people at this point. What it is everybody that you can think of that might be interested in participating, you want to put in there. Okay, so you'll see in the little right-hand side here, there's a number here. It's 1. So that's the first box. This is what we call diagonal learning. Box 2 is going to be develop and deliver a message. You can have a great database, but if you don't consistently go ahead and communicate your cause, what's going on, why you need why there's money, what the money is being used for. If you don't do that, that doesn't do any good. You got to communicate with your database. This is like the ground. This is like the ground. If you're a farmer, this is like the soil. This is like the seed. It doesn't do any good to have seed without soil. It doesn't do any good to have soil without seed. You're only as strong as the weakest of these two. So if you got a great database, but you're not consistent and you don't have a good messaging, well, guess what? That's not going to work out so well for you. If you got, a great messaging, but you don't have a very good database, well, that's not going to work. You got to have both. Both of these have got continually growing and developing. Any questions on that, Justin?
No. Can one of the databases be, I mean, I know they have some tools that pull emails from Facebook uh, profiles. Is that a good idea, you think?
Anything you can do to get, a database is going to be, so you're going to, let's say, have A, B, and C leads. A leads, let's say, are going to be the best leads, and that's where you're going to make most of your contributions in the next 12 months. B leads are going to be, so this is kind of this here. So you're going to have A, B, and C. So those are going to be weak leads because you're just pulling them, but there's something. And you can, if you have a really good message, you can turn weak leads into opportunities. So yes, but you've got to have a system not only to pull them, but you got to have a system to go ahead and follow through. Like Life Masteries Institute, they're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, wonderful organization, and they want to help you raise funds. That's why they're doing this here and putting it all together and all kinds of stuff. And so they at one time were sending out over 700,000 emails a month. And so that takes special technology. Like,
Yeah.
that I think Google, like your Gmail account, I think you can send out 500 a day. If you do more than that, they'll flag your account or cancel it or lock it up. You don't want to send more than 500 a day through Gmail. That won't be good. So I learned that the hard way. Now, when you send it out, there's technology out there. So Life Masteries Institute has their own CRM system. And so if you're really, really nice, and when I say really, I mean really, really nice. If you're really, really nice to Mary Jo, she can probably get you set up on an account on there. And
Okay.
so Life Masteries Institute, like 90, I don't know, 7% of what they do, they don't charge anything for, they just do it. So I'd encourage you to give money to Life Masteries as you're able, even $5 or $10 or whatever you can give money to. My friend from Ralph from uh, the land down under, he went ahead, Australia. He went ahead and said, "People who pay attention. People who pay a lot of attention."
Mm.
So it just is. And so if you pay nothing for, they call it MCAT, if you pay nothing, you'll probably not get very much out of it. If you pay something, so again, if you're nice to Mary Jo, she can set you up and probably set you up and it won't cost you a dime. But if you don't pay anything, if you don't give anything, you probably, and they put a lot of money into it, a lot of money into it. And costs a lot of money to maintain. But anyways,
Sure.
that has tremendous capability to go ahead and do email marketing. It's a machine and it will track everybody who opens that email. It will track anybody who clicks through that email. So now you're talking effectiveness. Then you have how do you raise fund? Box one, you get identified targets. Box two, develop and deliver a message. Box three is you track 100% of your leads. When somebody raises their hand, because they're interested, whatever, you got to track that. Then you go into box four is ask key questions. So this is how you sell. So that's what you're doing in raising funds. You're separating people from their money. Just that's what you are. They could do a lot with their money. They worked hard for their money. They could save it for retirement. They could spend it. They could go on vacation, but they're going to give it to you. Why are they going to give it to you? It's because of the experience. How do you create that amazing experience for them? And then box five is a strategic strike. So this is where you're going to touch them 10 times. So in psychology, in sales psychology, they did research on people and people who are making a buying or selling decision. And that's going to be people who go ahead and contribute. So you're getting, it's like sales. And so you got to touch them at least 10 times and then group people and messages together. So this is where you get leverage. This is where you get leverage. When this is called the golden triangle.
Okay.
Again, I know we've gone through a lot of information in a very short period of time, but the first thing, get your database, get it up and going, and then communicate to whoever your art mentor is. So let's say it's Mary Jo, for your art, ARRT, atomic ripple reaction tree. And so whoever your mentor is and other people, you can include me too or whatever. And you say, okay, I've got this. Oh, there's one other thing. So there's iterations to success. Let's go after the $1 million. You want to raise $1 million and it could be 10 million, whatever that wow goal is. So to get to $1 million, let's say it's going to take 100 steps, 100 actions to get to that million. If it takes you 1 year to do each step, what does that mean? It means you're going to run out of lifetime.
Oh yeah, by far.
Yeah. So most people say, well, Mark, this came up this week, or this came up this week, or this happened this week. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. But people don't think, well, it's only 1 week. It's not that big. It's not 1 week because there's hundreds of steps. And so you're going to have, if you, and the steps get harder, they don't get easier. It's like school. School doesn't get kindergarten. First grade is not easier than kindergarten. It's just not. Second, like it doesn't get easier. And so these steps, you got to reduce them, condense them down in. They're called iterations to success. You reduce them to take them from a year to a month to a week to a day to an hour to a minute. You're crunching them down. And then you're never done. Like I have 7 kids. All of them are out of the home. You know what? They might need me more now than they
Yeah.
ever do. I don't know. Maybe that's because I'm not a very good parent. I don't know. And so, same thing is true with this. You're never done identifying the target. You're always getting new targets, but you have enough to work with. Once you get enough to work with, then we'll get it into some type of technology system that you can then develop and deliver a message to them. And then we're going to go through this. So don't worry about doing it right. It's easier to change the direction of a moving car than one that's standing still. And so just get it going, just do something. And so each of these podcasts, roughly about 30 minutes. And so you got to start at the beginning and then do the first one and do it really well and then communicate. The faster you get through these, the faster you're going to go ahead and get to your income goal, your revenue goal, your contribution goal. And always come early and stay late. If you can participate in the live session, I'm telling you, it's a lot more fun. So you always come early, stay late, because that's where we don't record the early and the late. So that's where the really cool stuff. So if you're not participating live, you're missing out on some of the best stuff that there is. Justin, any questions on what we talked about today?
No.
All right. So again, always remember we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.